Thank you, Jeff. First of all, great to be here. Great to have you here. Great to be at 306. This is going to be kind of our new home. I'm going to have my radio show here every Wednesday night, and people here have treated us great, and we appreciate it. First of all, start the season off, I've got to mention that I've got some changes in the coaching staff. Obviously, Cody Gross went to Athens High School, and I promoted Stedman Campbell, offensive coordinator. Scott Harper is going to be the run game coordinator on offense. We hired Ryan Applin. Ryan, raise your hand. A lot of people might know. Ryan played at Arkansas State, was a great player. There was Sun Belt Player of the Year 2 years in a row, but more importantly, he's been coaching the last 3 years at Auburn and Ole Miss, and you can tell that he's been around great coaches and is a great fit into our program. Also, Zach Lisco. Zach, right here, is going to coach our defensive line. Zach also played at Arkansas State. You got Stedman from Arkansas. Zach played at Arkansas and Arkansas State, and Ryan played at Arkansas State. I was born in Arkansas, so, you know, I guess maybe that'll bring us some good luck. And Chris Willis has been promoted to assistant head coach and still defensive coordinator. And so those are kind of some changes in our staff. You know, with Chris, you know, I don't coach, as y'all know. I just watch. And I don't coach a position, but the off-the-field stuff and the administration stuff, I learned a long time ago the reason I don't coach is if something goes wrong, I don't have anybody to blame. So I made Chris assistant head coach, so now I got somebody to blame for everything. I can turn to somebody. You know, going for the fourth championship in a row, winning 3, and you know, I laugh at all the other sports getting picked where they got picked, and we got picked second, and you know, West Georgia deserved to be picked first. They had a great year last year, made it to the semifinal, but we hadn't been picked first in the last 3 years and won it each 3 of the 3 years, at least a share of it. So I think that's probably a good thing not to get picked, but you kind of wonder why, you know, why UNA, you know, after accomplishing something, you know, it's just amazing to me. But we had a player, first team all-conference last year, Levi Fail, coming back, and he's not even on the preseason team. So if you look at all those polls and look at that kind of stuff, you'll realize not to put a whole lot of meaning into it. We've got a great team coming back. We've got 17 returning starters. Now here's the problem. A lot of people think we're going to have a big drop-off because we lost some really marquee players. You know, when I came here 4 years ago, we signed, I think it was 38 freshmen or high school kids, and changing the way things were done. And Luke Wingo, Lamonte Thompson, Lee Mayhall, Floyd Jones, they've all started for 4 years in a row. And they're names that everybody knows, which is what you like. But at the same time, when you have 17 starters back, I think it's 40, I have to bring my glasses up here, 43 returning lettermen, 17 starters, 8 returning all-conference players, and you know, you got a good chance to have a good team. You know, obviously, we lost some great leadership. That's probably more important than the talent that we lost. And we're going to have to really, these seniors over here that I'm fixing to introduce and the rest of some other older guys are going to really have to step up and be great leaders to take the place of these guys that have been around so long and bought into what we decided to do when I first got here. And that's very important. You know, we've mentioned 3 conference championships. We've been 28-8 in the last 3 years. That's great with 3, everybody's gotten a ring for the last 3 years and all that, but the bad part of it is we've lost 4 games out of those 8 that we had no business losing. And that's my fault. That's the head coach's fault for not having the team ready to play. And I learned a long time ago to have a great season, you got to win all the games you're supposed to win. And then you're going to have in football 3 or 4 they're going to go to the wire. You win them all, you're going to have a tremendous season. You win 3 of them, you're going to have a good season. You win 2, it's going to be mediocre, and if you only win 1, it's not going to be a good season. And we've got to be more consistent this year in preparing for games. When I was at Temple, we beat Virginia Tech in 1998. We were a 36-point underdog. We were 0-6 and just lost to William and Mary. And I like to say William didn't even show up. But the bottom line is we won the game, and Frankie Beamer, the head coach, great head coach at Virginia Tech, good friend, told me later they quit identifying their opponents. It was opponent number 1, opponent number 2, opponent number 3, 4, all the way through the season. Because it does not matter who you play on Saturday, you can get beat if you're not ready to play. And we've got to do a better job. We should never have lost to Tuskegee at the end. I'm not taking anything away from Willie or Tuskegee, but there was no way we should have lost that game. But we had just beat Newberry 50-0, and Miles had just beat Tuskegee, and I didn't convince our players and our coaches because I know what kind of coach Willie Slater is. If you hadn't coached with him, you don't know. And we weren't prepared to play mentally. We were prepared in what to do. We were prepared in how to do it. But when you don't take a team seriously, that's what can happen to you. And we've lost 4 out of our 8 losses in the last 3 years that way. And if we're going to have a great season this year, we can't lose any of those. And sometimes you can overcome one. 1995, we were so good, we could play bad, not be ready to play, and still win. But we're not going to be that good. We're good, but everybody else is better. And so we got to be ready to play. 3 guys I want to introduce that are here with us are the epitome of what I call Division II football, and I love it. First one is Stephen Evans. Stephen, raise your hand. Stephen's an All-American offensive guard, preseason All-American this year, All-Conference last year. When Stephen was a freshman 5 years ago, or going into 5th year, he was at orientation, and I think it was either Todd or somebody walked in our office and said, there's somebody over here that wants to walk on in football, and he's an offensive lineman. Well, I'm going to promise you 95% of the time that guy comes over, they send him over, and he's about 5'10", 195 pounds, and he plays offensive tackle, you know, and Stephen walked in the door with holy smokes, and we ended up redshirting his freshman year, but he has turned into a great player, a leader on the team, an all-conference player. The next one's Filbert Marshall. Filbert, raise your hand. Filbert is from Mobile. I mentioned Stephen's from Boston. Filbert's from Mobile. We didn't even know about Filbert until about 10 days before recruiting, before signing date. Somebody called us, a good friend of mine, played ball here, and Marcine Emmett, great running back here, some of you know, and his son went to the same school, and Filbert was going to visit, I think, Arkansas Tech and a few other places, and we got on him late. He's the only player in our conference coming back this year that's been 3-time all-conference, and been one of our best players. I like to say if he was 6 feet tall, he'd be a first-round draft choice in the NFL draft. One of the best players I've ever coached. And but that's Division II. And then the third one, Jacob Tucker. Jacob, raise your hand. Jacob's going to be our quarterback, and there's not hardly enough words I can say of what he means to our program. 4 years ago, I had 2 freshman quarterbacks come in, Luke Wingo and Jacob Tucker. And we were in fall practice, and we were trying to decide which one was going to back up Chris Alexander, and the other one was going to be redshirted. And we were about probably half a day from making that decision to play Jacob and redshirt Luke, and Josh Penny walks in and says Jacob's got the bulging disc in his back and can't practice for 10 days. That made the decision. If it wouldn't have been for the bulging disc, Luke might be here this year, and Jacob could have played the last 4 years. Jacob has played a lot of ball. He's a great leader. He's president of the SAC committee for not only the UNA, but for the GSC. Any other person without his unselfishness and his character would have transferred. In fact, Coach Saban has been talking about that in the paper lately. All these guys are so quick now to leave if they're not going to play, and Jacob has stuck with us and played his role and been unselfish, and those intangibles I always preach, there's not a better example of it than Jacob Tucker. And I hope he has a tremendous year this year, and I think he will. He's a great leader and has all the qualities that you would look for in a quarterback. Offensively, we're going to run the same style because that's what we've been doing. The difference in our offense is the fact that we don't have Lamonte. We're going to have bigger backs and be more of and be bigger up front in the offensive line too, but be more of a power running game probably. All our quarterbacks can run the ball. We got to get Jacob to learn how to run out of bounds and not try to run over people, but they all can run the football extremely well, so there'll be a lot of quarterback running, read stuff, power game, and then our receivers, probably the best group we've had since I've been here, definitely the fastest, and get big plays out of our receivers. Dre Hall's returning, all-conference 1,000-yard receiver. Jalen Jackson's fastest guy on the team, at least he was when we timed the 40s. Levi might argue that point, but ran a 4.3 something. And I had a great year as a freshman last year. And then you look at Julius Jones, and he's about 6'4.5", 6'5". So in our league, that's huge for a wide receiver. And so we got one with height, we got one with tremendous speed, and then we got one that's just a great, great player. And so those guys have to produce the big plays because our backs are going to be bigger, but not the Lamonte breakaway type backs. Defensively, I think it's got a chance to be the best defense we've had since I've been back. We got tremendous speed. We added 2 guys over the summer that were really, really important. One was Darius Wright, transfer from East Carolina, a tremendous player at linebacker. And then the other one was Alfonso Hampton, who 2 years ago I was in San Diego in his home and trying to recruit him, and he ended up going to Texas Commerce. Didn't like it there, called us, wanted to come here, came here. He's 6'5", he says he's 340, I'm gonna say 360. And he was the number 4 junior college defensive lineman in the country coming out of junior college year before last. Hopefully he hasn't lost any of that. But I think that's gonna really help us, especially the linebacker. And we've got a tremendous secondary coming back, more speed we've ever had. So I think defensively we could be as good as we've been since I've been back. Special teams, I mean, it's not a whole lot to say there. Everybody's back. Kevin Hinkie, all preseason all-conference kicker. Jeb Millender, a punter. And, of course, Will Lovelace has been all-conference long snapper the last 2 years. And then Filbert returning punts and kicks. And there's going to be some other people that can do that also. So, you know, a lot of people coming back. Leadership and intangibles will be the key. Schedule, very, very difficult, but it always is. I mean, that's no different, just like I mentioned earlier. It doesn't matter who you play first. How do you know this year Shorter's not going to be the best team in the conference? New coach, bring in new people, transfers in Division II, you don't ever know. The best thing about our schedule is the fact that we do not have an away game. Well, first of all, we don't play away two weeks in a row. And the second thing is we don't have an away game. It's big in Division II. These guys will tell you. We don't have an away game, night game, with a long bus ride home all year long. We're going to Florida Tech, but we're flying there. We go to Mississippi College and Delta, but they're both day games. And, of course, Mississippi College, the last game of the year. And then the other 2 road games are West Alabama and who? Well, anyway, we don't have a long bus ride. Like I said, I don't know who we're playing. Oh, man. But that's it. So anyway, that's kind of everything in a nutshell on the season. We're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to coaching these guys because this is really, I know what we got for the first time when we're not picked to win and not picked to do this and do that because of losing those guys. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun watching these guys perform. And I'm excited about the season, excited about coaching them. Got a great group of guys. One thing that hadn't been said that I think always should be said is that our administration does a great job, and the academics at UNA, we had the highest GPA in the history of the athletic department last year and still won conference championships. So you can do both, and you can do it the right way, and I'm excited about being a part of it. Thank you.
Media Day coverage continuing here at 306 Barbecue. We're now joined by the big fella, Steven Evans, an All-American offensive lineman, All-Conference offensive lineman. Coach Wallace was actually talking about during his portion of the Media Day today that you walked on as a freshman at UNA, something I was not aware of, but talk about the journey from a walk-on to becoming an All-American performer at UNA.
It's a crazy journey. Never would have thought I would make it this far from all those years ago, but it was crazy nonetheless. 2012 came here, was just looking to see if I could talk to anyone just to play because I've always had a passion since I first put on the pads in 2008. Like I said, Mr. Vardaman saw me out there, talked to Coach Wallace, talked to Coach Gross at the time, and then ever since then it was history. But it just takes a lot of hard work and preparation. I'm just blessed with the opportunity every single day.
Todd Vardaman, compliance and apparently also helping football recruit, looking for players around. Well, we're very excited that you walked on those many years ago. What are some of the challenges that you faced as a walk-on, not only in Florence, Alabama, but coming all the way down from Boston, Massachusetts?
Family. Family was a big thing. Seeing them, spending time with them, just any time that I could. I liked the confidence at the time, but slowly I was becoming into more my own person, saw what I had to do, the do's and do nots. And on the field, I had a lot of mentors like Will Furlong and David Lumberg at the time. I don't know if you guys remember them, but they helped me a lot my freshman year all the way up until this point, and I still talk to them this day about it.
I've had a lot of great mentors along the way, and now as a senior, a leader on the offensive line, do you feel more pressure to step up and be a leader to maybe some of those younger guys?
Not as much pressure. I really look forward to that, actually, because that instills that they will do, the right steps for when I'm gone or when the next man's down, and, just to come back and have that confidence and boost. So I have no problem with that. I don't feel like there's any pressure on my part. I'm actually happy to do that.
Now let's talk about your off season for just a moment. You did go home to Boston workout. You told me you're weighing about 305 right now. You look good. I know you're chomping at the bit to get out on the field and work some, but just take us through your off season. What are some of the things you did to prepare for the upcoming season?
I cut down on a lot of sugar, drank a lot more water, got up earlier just so I could get my body going, my metabolism going, and just hit the gym hard as much as I could and before I went to work and sometimes even after work in the summer. But I'm glad I made that sacrifice and went home for a little bit. I felt like it helped me out in the long run and for the season coming up as well.
There's your workout tip for the day. And last thing I really want to ask you, this team's got a chance to do something very special, and that's win the 4th straight conference title in school history. No team in the Gulf South Conference has ever done that. Have you taken time as a senior to sit back and reflect on what you've accomplished and what you have a chance to accomplish this upcoming season?
I actually have. Coming into my mind this is my last year of going, last year playing, last year competing. So I just want to put it on the table, and I know the 4th is going to be hard, but that's something that we all on the team want to get done just because it's never done before, and we just felt like it was going to be a good way for us to look and even better way for Coach Wallace to look as well.
Steven, we're very excited to see you on the field this fall. Best of luck to you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Continuing our coverage here at 306 Barbecue, we've now got senior defensive back Filbert Marshall. Filbert, coming up on your senior season, have you had a chance to reflect back on your career as it comes to a close this year yet?
Yeah, I have. It actually came by faster than I thought it would, but it's been a great time. I've had a great time playing with the players, playing under these great coaches. It's been a great time.
A defensive back, one of the shutdown corners in Division II Premier, I should say. Who are some defensive backs that you look up to maybe in the NFL that you try to mold your game after?
My favorite player is Tyrann Mathieu. But my favorite cornerback is Patrick Peterson. I love the way he plays. He's a shutdown corner in the NFL. Yeah, that's probably. the cornerback I look up to.
As you look at the expectations for this season, this team has a chance to win its 4th straight conference title, something that's never been done in the history of the Gulf South Conference or in the storied history of UNA athletics. If you had a chance to look back at your team goals to win, I guess, another conference title and the work that you're going to have to do this year in order to accomplish that?
Yeah, I have. Winning a 4th conference title, that'll be a great accomplishment. No other team has done it in the Gulf South. I've had time to look back at it, but mainly we're trying to get past that. We're trying to get a national championship, but we have to work game by game and just get by game, and winning that 4th conference championship, that would be great.
And, of course, the secondary has a lot of great names. We could just go down the list of players that you've played with over your career and players that you're going to continue to play with this year. Is there any healthy competition amongst you guys to maybe have the most interceptions, maybe most forced fumbles? And is that competition great to keep you on your toes and keep you working hard every day?
Yeah, it is. We have off-the-side bets about who's going to get the most picks, most tackles, deflections. Especially with me and Levi, we're very competitive with each other, but it's a friendly thing. We have friendly bets, about who's going to get the most picks. It just pushes us harder to make more plays, and there's some great receivers that we have to play this year. But I think we can accomplish our goal.
Well, we look forward to cheering you on as you accomplish those goals this year, Filbert. Enjoy your senior year. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
All right, thank you.
Continuing our coverage here at 306 Barbecue for the 2016 UNA Athletics Media Day, and we're now joined by senior quarterback Jacob Tucker. Senior quarterback, has it set in yet that it is your senior year?
It really hasn't yet. I'm waiting for it to. I think I'm anticipating it too much that I'm going to miss it. But, I've been going back this past summer and watching highlights from games, in the past couple of years, even dating back to 2012 when I didn't even play. I was redshirted. But just being able to see all those guys that came before me and watch them play throughout their senior year and just see the grit and determination that came with every senior class, it really puts it into perspective for me what I need to do and what kind of attitude I need to come bring to the table when this season starts.
Last couple of years, it's kind of been 1A, 1B at quarterback. You come in 2012 as part of that huge freshman class in Coach Wallace's first year. So now you've been a part of 3 straight Gulf South Conference championship teams, and now a chance to make history. No team's ever won 4 straight. Do you go to bed at night dreaming about that 4th championship ring?
I try not to. That's something that'll come when it's time. Right now I'm really focusing on just building relationships with the guys on the team. Because this is going to be my last, go around here, and the experiences that I'm going to be able to get throughout this season with the guys that I've grown close to over the past 3-4 years, and even 5 years with some of the guys. That's what's going to be special to me at the end of the day. The 4th GSC championship is going to be unbelievable. That'll be an opportunity to write our name in the chapter of a book that nobody else has their name in. And so whenever you get to do something like that, it kind of gives you goosebumps a little bit when you think about it and talk about it. But I'm excited. I know everybody else is excited. The community's excited. That's one of the first questions you hear, whenever you start talking about UNA football is, are they going to do it 4 in a row? And so I'm excited for the opportunity to even play for 4 in a row. Most guys don't even get the opportunity to play for 1 throughout their college career, and I've gotten the opportunity to win 3 and play for a 4th one. So I'm really thankful for that.
Winningest program in the state of Alabama since 1990. We do have a championship tradition, and we're looking forward to chasing that 4th one this year. But let's talk about your play individually. If you're familiar with UNA athletics and UNA football, we know that Jacob Tucker likes to lower his shoulder. And I know during spring football, you were getting frustrated because they had that red jersey on you. And I know there was one moment in the spring game where they blew the whistle dead, and you stopped. And you said, you wouldn't have tackled me, you wouldn't have tackled me, and you wouldn't have tackled me. Are you just chomping at the bit right now to get that red jersey off and play a game?
I definitely am. And the mindset that I have to have coming into this season is going to have to be different from years past. And I understand that. But that is part of my game. And, so I'm not by any means going to cut that out by any extent. But when I think about, camp starting, like I'm excited, to get the ball rolling and get out there with the guys. The thing is, I won't have contact until September 1st against Jacksonville State. And, that's just how Coach Wallace does with his quarterbacks. And, I probably don't realize it now, but I'm probably pretty thankful for it, in the back of my head somewhere. But I'm excited. You know, when I was in high school, I played offense and defense, and I love defense. And a huge fan, good friend of mine, Greg Grimes from my hometown. You know, he always swore up and down that I was going to go play defense in college, and I think it breaks his heart sometimes knowing that I'm still playing quarterback. But I do love the intensity of the game. You know, the contact, the physicality. I've heard it referred to before. You know, my high school coach said that football is the closest you can get to war without signing up for the draft. And you know, and I took that to heart. And you know, it's a lot of fun to go out there and not only, you know, use the strength and brute force that you have against somebody, but to also strategize and use your mentality against people too.
As I look over to my left, I see Stephen Evans standing there, another senior. He redshirted as well, and there's a lot of players that you've been a part of this program with for a very long time. So heading into what will be really your second senior year, your final season at UNA, do you ever just take a minute and just look at what all you guys have accomplished and what you've been through with some of these other guys?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, Stephen and I, you know, we lived in the dorms together, you know, freshman year. We didn't room together, but we were, you know, in the same dorms. We saw each other all the time, and this is the same for a lot of the guys that they're fifth-year seniors now. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity to be here, not only just play 4 years, but to be here for 5 years, you know, and to continue my education here at UNA, which is an outstanding university. But the experiences that I've made here are experiences that I could have never dreamed of, you know, coming from a college athlete. When I signed out of high school, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. Nobody from my high school had ever, you know, signed to play college football and you know, stayed at it for 4 full years. And so, you know, like I said, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So coming in and I meet these guys and just being able to develop that bond, that friendship, you know, even the guys that graduated this past year, you know, that didn't get registered, they graduated in 4 years. You know, those are guys that are going to be my best friends for a long, long time. And, you know, I'm very appreciative of that. And to be able to look back on what we've done here at UNA and in the GSC and at a national level, competing in the playoffs, you know, to be able to do that in general is great. But to be able to do that with a group of guys that you love and would go to war with every day just makes it that more special.
And Jacob, before I let you go, one of the great things about UNA athletics and the UNA football program is we lead the nation in attendance every year. We've led the Gulf South Conference in attendance the last 13 years. Let me correct myself. We finished in the top 5 the last couple of seasons in attendance. Last year we averaged right around 9,500 people at Brawley Stadium. But when Brawley Stadium right down the road in downtown Florence is packed out and there's 10,000 people in the stands, there's 2,000 UNA students there, what does it do for you as a player?
Well, you know, I got goosebumps a little bit. You just described it right there. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, just the fan support that we have, you know, just not only the ones that come to the games, but the ones that stop you, you know, in the community when you're out eating at a restaurant or when you're walking through Walmart, the people who stop and talk to you, it makes you feel at home, it makes you feel special, and to be able to play in front of, you know, one of the largest crowds in Division II year after year after year, it just makes that experience as a college athlete, you know, 10 times better. And I'm very thankful for the fans that we have here at UNA and the support that we have in the Florence and Shoals area, because without them, without those people in the stands who encourage us and cheer us on, and without them stopping and making conversation just in the community, you know, my experience as a college athlete wouldn't be as good. So, you know, being able to play in front of 9,000, 10,000 every week is you can't really put it into words, you know, especially somebody coming from a small school. I went to a 1A high school in Tennessee, and we had great crowds for 1A, but it was still just a couple of hundred people. So my first home game at Brawley, when there's 9,000 people in the stands, I was, you know, I had to pick my jaw up off the turf because, you know, it's just something I hadn't experienced before, and being able to experience that for 4 years, going on 5 years, it's been a blessing, no doubt.
Season opens September 1st at Jacksonville State. First home game you can watch Jacob Tucker lead the Lions out of the helmet in the end zone September 17th against Valdosta State. Jacob, senior year, go get that 4th ring. Best of luck to you.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
And that's going to conclude our Media Day coverage here at 306 Barbecue. Visit RoarLions.com all year to keep up with everything going on with UNA Athletics.